Hello, welcome to our assembly for Friday. It's the end of the week and it's been a short week this week. You guys have only been in school for 3 days and the teachers have been working hard a little bit longer than that to make sure that you've got all these exciting things to do. And it's been such a good week because all the teachers have been really happy with the way you guys have been behaving. So well done with the work that you've been doing, which has been brilliant. And I've had some lovely conversations with people about how excited they were about their new book that they're using in class, all sorts of really cool things. So well done, guys. You made a really good start to the term. Now, I'm going to read you another story today because I love this book. I really love it. And I've used it in assembly quite a long time ago now. And I just really enjoy sharing it. So I'm going to share this one with you as well. Excuse me. Because it's about somebody who's learned, grown, and dreamt. Now, I shared this with you, and last two assemblies, we've been talking about how together we learn, grow, and dream. And that's really important. But there's also this bit that goes with it. Okay? So this word cloud is all of the things that we want you guys to be by the time you leave school. Sometimes you do these things all the time. Sometimes you only need to do them some of the time. But if we have a look at some of these words, there's words like enthusiastic. And certainly when I was talking to two girls in school yesterday who were really enthusiastic about the book that they were reading and about the tiny details that we were looking at, that was certainly the case with those two people. Happy, safe, creative. Now, when we think about dreaming, that learn, grow, and dream, that's the bit, that creative is really important. And there's also, where are we? Resilient. We talk a lot about that in assembly. And resourceful. So coming up with new ideas. And today I'm going to read you this story that I really love about somebody who needed to be enthusiastic and creative and resilient and resourceful and positive and an innovator, somebody who comes up with new ideas, and confident as well. So let's have a look at this story. It's just because it's a really good book, and obviously we like our good books at Wincham. So Rosie Revere, Engineer by Andrea Beattie. And one of the reasons I love it is for pictures like this. So the book is full of amazing drawings, but actually these pictures don't look, when you look at each individual bit, like for example, that beach ball there, that's not massively detailed. Or the picture of the, I don't know, the bits like Meccano that's all joined together, doesn't look massively detailed, but I love the way it's all put together in so many different ways. And there's so much on the page, but made up of simple things. I think it's just a really clever way to illustrate. So, Rosie Revere, Engineer by Andrea Beattie, and illustrated by David Roberts. This is the story of Rosie Revere, who dreamed of becoming a great engineer. In Lila Greer's classroom at Blue River Creek, young Rosie sat shyly, not daring to speak. But when no one saw her, she peeked in the trash for treasures to add to her engineer's stash. And late at night, Rosie rolled up her sleeves and built in her hideaway under the eaves. Alone in her attic, the moon high above, dear Rosie made gadgets and gizmos she loved. And when she grew sleepy, she hid her machines far under the bed where they'd never be seen. When Rosie was young, she'd not been so shy. She worked with her hair swooping over one eye and made fine inventions for uncles and aunts. A hot dog dispenser and helium pants. Wow. Imagine your pants filled with helium so that you floated up to the sky. I love that. The uncle she loved most was zookeeper Fred. She made him a hat to keep snakes off his head from parts of a fan and some cheddar cheese spray, which everyone knows keeps the pythons away. And when it was finished, young Rosie was proud. But Fred slapped his knee and chuckled out loud. He laughed till he wheezed, and his eyes filled with tears, to all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who stood there embarrassed, perplexed, and dismayed. She looked at the cheese hat and then looked away. "I love it," Fred hooted. "Oh, truly I do." But Rosie Revere knew that could not be true. She stuck the cheese hat on the back of her shelf, and after that day kept her dreams to herself. And that's how it went until one autumn day her oldest relation showed up for a stay. Her great-great-aunt Rose was a true dynamo who'd worked building airplanes a long time ago. She told Rosie tales of the things she had done and goals she had checked off her list one by one. She gave a sad smile as she looked to the sky. "The only thrill left on my list is to fly. But time never lingers as long as it seems. I'll chalk that one up to an old lady's dreams." So there was Rosie's aunt from such a long time ago. That night, as Rosie lay wide-eyed in bed, a daring idea crept into her head. Could she build a gizmo to help her aunt fly? She looked at the cheese hat and said, "No, not I." But questions are tricky and some hold on tight, and this one kept Rosie awake through the night. So when dawn approached and red streaks lit the sky, young Rosie knew just how to make her aunt fly. She worked and she worked till the day was half gone, then hauled her cheese copter out onto the lawn to give her invention a test just to see the ridiculous flop it might turn out to be. A cheese copter? Heard of a helicopter? Never a cheese copter? Oh my word, look at that. Strapped into the cockpit, she flipped on the switch. The hellier cheese copter spluttered and twitched. It floated a moment and whirled round and round, then froze for a heartbeat and crashed to the ground. Then Rosie heard laughter and turned round to see the old woman laughing and slapping her knee. She laughed till she wheezed and her eyes filled with tears, all to the horror of Rosie Revere, who thought, "Oh no, never, not ever again will I try to build something to sputter or spin, or build with a lever, a switch, or a gear, and never will I be a great engineer." So she's had those two massive disappointments, and we had that word beginning with R. I wonder if you can remember what it is that means that she could stick out something. She has to be resilient. And do you think she's feeling confident right now? Possibly not. I wonder what's going to happen next in the story that's going to help her to be confident. She turned round to leave, but then great-great-aunt Rose grabbed hold of young Rosie and pulled her in close and hugged her and kissed her and started to cry. "You did it! Hooray! It's the perfect first try. This great flop is over. It's time for the next." Young Rosie was baffled, embarrassed, perplexed. "I failed," said dear Rosie. "It's just made of trash. Didn't you see it? The cheese copter crashed." "Yes," said a great aunt, "it crashed. That's true. But first it did just what it needed to do. Before it crashed, Rosie, before that, it flew. Your brilliant first flop was a raging success. Come on, let's get busy and on to the next." She handed a notebook to Rosie Revere, who smiled at her aunt as it all became clear. Life might have its failures, but this was not it. The only true failure can come if you quit. Look at all these ideas for flying machines and all of the names of the important women who were part of the process of making them by the side of them. They worked till the sun sneaked away to its bed. Aunt Rose tied a headscarf around Rosie's head and sent her to sleep with a smile, ear to ear, to dream the bold dreams of a great engineer. And there it says on the side of a cheese copter, "We can do it." At Blue River Creek, all the kids in grade 2 build gizmos and gadgets and doohickeys too. With each perfect failure, they all stand and cheer, but none quite as proudly as Rosie Revere. There we go. I love that story. I love the story because it rhymes. I just think it's a really nice story to read. I enjoy reading it with the rhythm of the story, but also I enjoy it because it's about somebody who realizes that they have to be confident. They have to say, yeah, I'm going to have a setback, I'm going to have a problem, and I'm going to manage it all the same. I'm going to stick at it regardless. So when you think about Rosie, she had learned and she had grown as a person because she wasn't bothered by her setbacks, or when she had her setbacks, she didn't let them bother her because she carried on working with her aunt, and she dreamt of something to actually make her aunt's life better because her aunt had that dream of flying. So Rosie did something about it. So she was making the world a better place. She was becoming a responsible citizen, looking out for other people. So she was enthusiastic. She was creative. At the end of the story, she was proud. She was curious to see if she could do what she set out to do. She was resourceful because not many people would think of cheese as a way of flying. I certainly wouldn't. She was optimistic that she could do it. And when she had that setback, she was resilient. So lots and lots of really positive things in that about Rosie and all of those things. So you could be like Rosie too, although possibly I don't think you should maybe learn to fly with cheese. I'm not quite sure that's going to work. I think that's only in a story. Cheese is best in a sandwich. Yeah, definitely. Right. There you go. Thank you for listening to one of my favourite books again. It's been really, really lovely sharing stories with you this week. I've really enjoyed doing our assemblies because it's all about sharing a good book. And I'm really, really glad. So I am glad that you've had a good week back at school. I am glad to have talked to so many of you about your lovely Christmas holidays and the things that you've enjoyed at Christmas. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Make sure you talk to mums and dads about doing your lateral flow tests before you come back to school on Monday. That's really, really important for everybody, for children and for grown-ups. And I will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.